Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Sana Harris. I'm the employment specialist here at the Economic Opportunity Board of Clark County. I have Mr. Scott Bushman, who is here with us from the Economic Opportunity Board as well. He is our resume specialist, and we have with us today Alexandria Hughes from Employ Nevada, their business hub, and she's going to tell us all about the services that they have available to the community, and in particular for employers. We are coming to you live on our Workforce Wednesdays webinar. Our website is eobcapsnv.org. And you can also reach us by our phone number at 702-445-7105. This live webinar is coming to you every first and third Wednesday of each month at 11 a.m. It also will be live streamed on Facebook, on YouTube, and on our website. So if you want to go back and look at any past webinars, or if you missed this one live, you have other avenues and opportunities where you can view this information. Each webinar, we will come to you with employers and educators and trainers that will let you know what resources are available to you out in the community. And so the Economic Opportunity Board is about recovery, helping the community to get back to work and to start new careers. If you are just starting a new job or a new career and you need uniforms, work cards, anything that has to do with workforce, we are here to service you. If you need help with your resume, maybe you're seeking out a new employment opportunity and your resume is for teaching, but now you're going to go and be a bartender, or you're going to go and be a medical assistant. You're going to require a new resume. And so we have Scott here with us who can assist you with that as well. We can do mock interviewing. We can help you to create a resume from scratch. We can update your resume. So we have a plethora of services that we offer to the community. In addition, we have our Family Supportive Services program as well, where we do rental and utility assistance. We have our Martin Luther King Jr. Senior Center, which is where we are now, coming to you live on this webinar. So give us a call, 702-445-7105. We are all about helping the community to recover. And our website, once again, is eobcapsnv.org. Now we are going to go over and talk with Miss Alexandria. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How are you? How's things going over there?
Things are going great. Oh, definitely, especially with unemployment insurance benefits ending in September. Things are really ramping up. We're seeing a lot of excitement from employers and job seekers. So we're really excited.
Wow, good to hear it. That's the direction we want to go in. Can you tell our listening viewers who Employ NV is?
Absolutely. So the Employ NV Business Hub was created last year with the goal of being the first touch point for local small businesses. We want to help businesses during this time recover and grow and reboot their business.
Okay, great. And so that's definitely a need for the community, because employers, just like employees are looking for employment, and employers are looking for employees. And so it's a two-way lane. You know, we both have a need, and we both depend on agencies like Employ NV, Job Connect, One Stop, the Economic Opportunity Board, to get that information and get those resources out to the community. So thank you so much for being here with us today. Can you tell us a little bit about your services?
Yeah, definitely. So what we assist with mainly is a couple different things. We can assist businesses with talent recruitment. That can be kind of a long process for different employers, and we can be like an extension of their HR arm and help them kind of look for the right candidates. We can also help with job postings. Job postings can be kind of expensive, as you guys may know. So we have our own job posting board at employnv.gov, and that's what we use to find candidates for employers. What we can also help with is hiring and training incentives. So let's say you find that right candidate, but maybe they have a little bit of a skills gap. if you're willing to train them on the job, we can incentivize that. And it is on a case-by-case basis. We can also help entrepreneurs. So people who have a dream and a spark to start something new, we want to talk to them. We want to get them matched up with mentors so that they can get that assistance to get their business up and off the ground. And then also we can do some different employer-based recruitment events. And it is on a case-by-case basis, but we can help them get more of those candidates in their door.
Okay, so that is amazing. I know we have seen an uptake. I'm just listening to the local news and national news as well. We have seen an uptake in individuals not returning to work, but starting their own employment. And so that's amazing because I don't know of another agency that is assisting with that self-employment. A lot of times we're just winging it. You know, we're using social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter to get our businesses going, and we don't really have any idea what we're doing. But it's absolutely awesome that you all are providing mentors and a little bit of guidance to get that going.
Absolutely. We're excited too. We've formed some partnerships with the different agencies around Las Vegas, such as SCORE, the Small Business Association, SBDC. So we have a lot of people for entrepreneurs to tap into. And it's at no cost. So really great benefit.
That is a great benefit at no cost because as we know, we're still managing our way through this pandemic and funds are kind of scarce, you know, and maybe for employers as well. So it's great that there's no cost, you know, for these services. And then you also talked about on-the-job training, which is something that we have not seen a lot of. So the fact that you're offering incentives for that is also very amazing.
Thank you. And you kind of touched on it too. There's a lot of people right now that are kind of wondering, you know, how I was a server, how can I get into a different field? And this program really allows for things like that to occur.
Okay. That is totally great. Can you give us your name? Not your name, I'm sorry. How does an employer contact employee NV?
Yeah, so they can, there's a couple different ways. We have two different locations right now. One's on the way, don't tell anybody. But one of the locations is at Vegas Chamber. The other library is open to the public. So anybody can just kind of come down there. We do recommend making an appointment. You can make an appointment by reaching out. So you can email us at info@EmployNV Business Hub, and it's spelled just like this little logo right here, EmployNVBusinessHub.org.
Okay, great.
And then they can also visit our website at EmployNVBusinessHub.org.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that information. And then one last thing, you also talked about recruitment. So is that in the form of job fairs or what does that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. We do job fairs. We do hiring fairs. To speak on an employer that just recently had a job fair, I believe it was the Strat, formerly the Stratosphere Hotel and Casino, went over to the Sahara West location. They had a job fair over there. We've also had several other employers. It's been really successful. It's pretty fun as well. We offer the space. So, you know, if employers, especially small businesses, might not have the space to conduct a hiring fair, we're going to give them that space at no cost to them.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. You know, that might be something that EOB wants to look into because we are thinking about doing some job fairs on our site, but to space. So if we are looking to expand that at some point, then that would be great to reach out to employee and get some partnership going.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
We'd love to have you guys in there.
Thank you for the invite. And
very welcome.
It's been a pleasure talking with you today. I just want to ask one more question before I know you have some other things that you have to attend to today, so we don't want to keep you too long. But one last question, the employers that are posting their jobs with you, how are those sent over to the employees? So is it like a referral type base? Is it a guaranteed you're going to get a position, or how does that work?
So I think what you're asking is how do how do job seekers find out about those positions? Is that what you're asking?
How do they find out about those positions? And once they find out about the positions, are they up against other applicants, or are they kind of just referred over?
So employinv.gov is a huge database with job seekers. And when they get on there, they can look for jobs that match what their skills are. And it'll actually show, it's pretty cool. It'll show them like a little pie chart of how much they match that job. So that's one of the tools that they can use, and that also employers can use too to find that right candidate.
Great, great. So this EmployNV is a great resource for employers all over the Las Vegas Valley. You will receive incentives for on-the-job training. You have the opportunity to have a space created for job fairs and recruitment. And then you also, for employees and job seekers, you have the opportunity to get, or not even job seekers, but young entrepreneurs have the opportunity to have access to mentors and just have some guidance on how to go ahead and get a small business started. And even, do you offer any assistance with small business loans or any referrals or anything of that sort?
That's a great question. And absolutely, we do have some different partnerships with different banks. And then we also are always on the lookout for different grants that are coming around. So we do have a whole list of that. So if anybody has questions about grants or getting connected with a bank to get loans, we can definitely facilitate that.
Great. It sounds like EmployNV has really touched on every aspect of workforce, you know, as far as from the employer perspective, and even a bit from the job seeker perspective as well.
Yes.
So you all have some great services that you offer to the community. Thank you so much, Alexandria, for being on with us today. We really appreciate you. And I'm looking forward to working with you in the future. And it is a great service that you all are offering to the community.
Thank you very much.
Could you do us a really big favor and type your information in the chat? So,
I sure can.
So those of us who are slow hand writers have the option of being able to see that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let me get that in there for you guys right now.
And so if an employer is reaching out, what does that process look like? Do they have to have an appointment, or?
Yeah, we typically like to do the appointment thing, but if they want to just drop in, Sahara West Library is open to the public, so they can just hop in there. But we do definitely recommend appointments just in case, you know, there's some other people there.
Right. Okay, that's great. Great talking with you today, and I'm going to let you get on to your other affairs that you have to attend to. Thank you so much for being here, and I will be reaching out to you soon.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to come into your space and talk about the EmployNV Business Hub.
Absolutely. You have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye. All right, so now we are going to go over to Mr. Scott Bushman, who is going to let you know all about our services that we offer in our program for our resume writing and for our mock interviews and tips, do's and don'ts that you should and should not do when having a virtual interview, much like this webinar. Scott?
All right, so there's a couple of things that are concerns. First of all, I have several friends who have never, ever in their entire lives, ever filled out a resume. They got their first job from recommendation of a friend. They walked in, they got hired, and then they just moved up based on, they learned a new skill. Their boss knew they had that skill, they got a different job. So they may have had 20, 25, 30 years of experience and never filled out a resume in their entire lives. And so they're panicking right now because people are requesting a resume and they're going, I don't know how. So I just tell them, just give me your information and we'll go through and create a resume. There's a couple of things that have changed in resumes over the recent years. So there's a couple of things, for instance, they've modified the introduction part of it. instead of putting in what do I want to do in my, with my career, it's a how can I help you by the experience that I have. Also, the one size fits all resume is just not working anymore. So most of the time when you look at a job offer or you look at a posting, you want to go in and make it so that your resume best resembles that resume, that job posting, so that you can actually get that job. For instance, I have several different resumes, and part of the reason for that is that if they want to have a teacher, I need to go in and modify my resume so that it says the words teacher on it. That way, well, here's what happens, guys. That for most of the job postings, they average between 250 to 1,000 applicants for every single job. There is no way Sana and I could go through and look at 1,000 resumes. It would take us weeks to do that. We need to hire somebody by Friday. So in order to speed things up, what we want to do is we want to go through and have a software program go in and read your resume first. And it looks for things like keywords in your application. And so, for instance, the one I just said, if I'm applying for a job as a teacher, then I want to take the word instructor out of my resume and switch it with teacher so that I match the job posting. So that's the key to most of it, is go in and match your job posting. That'll make it a lot easier, and it makes it so that you become a closer client. If it's asking for somebody that has experience with Microsoft Office 365, then I would want to make sure that Office 365 was accented somewhere in my resume. The other key thing to remember is, because they don't have a lot of time to look at your resume, you want to make sure that your important information is in the top third of your resume. You want to make it so that it's what they read first, the most important stuff. It's kind of like a fly leaf on a book. I'm a book reader. And so I go through and read the fly leaves on the book to see if I might be interested in the book. If it's interesting, I'll read the book. If it's not, I won't. And that's exactly what's happening with your resumes. If the first 2 or 3 lines don't interest me, I'm dropping this like a hot potato. I've got other stuff to do. I've got another 150 resumes to go through and look at. So what they're looking for right now is a reason to exclude you. And what you want to do is make sure they have reasons to include you so that you actually end up being part of the resume. Other things that have changed recently is they're doing a lot more interviews like this. So you may end up having an interview where there's 5 or 10 people in the interview. They may be individual windows, or they may be like this, where we're in a boardroom and we're interviewing you. Please don't feel like you're being teamed up on. What's happening is they're trying to economize the process. So your first interview may actually be on a telephone. Now, if you're having a telephone interview, one of the things you've got to worry about is what happens if, while I'm on my telephone interview and we're doing it live, so here I am, they can see my face, and all of a sudden somebody walks back behind me. That can be terribly distracting. And so you want to try to minimize the chances. So like you can see somebody walking past the windows back there. We might want to cover the windows so that you don't see that kind of stuff. You want to minimize the distractions. And so those are the kinds of things that we're talking about in this, is just, let's keep it down to as simple and as much control as we can. Please realize that you don't have total control over the world. Your neighbor starts to jackhammer the driveway right as your phone call starts. It's time to say, hey guys, I don't have control over this. Let's reschedule and be realistic, and it'll work out for you. But be careful. You have to be aware of background noise. You have to be aware of yourself. You also have to realize that if you're sitting here holding it in exactly the wrong position, they're looking at your nose hairs, you know, so be aware of what's going on, be aware of what they can see, and that'll make it a lot more sense. Sana also mentioned that one of the things that we can do is help you with practicing this stuff. So it's a lot easier to talk to Sana and me than it is to, you know, hey, you're talking to the people that are going to determine whether or not you're going to be eating for the next year. That's scary. That's life-threatening. Yeah, we're not life-threatening. We're easy, and we can kind of ground you or help you as you're going through the process, so you feel more comfortable. I've gone through and created a list of 21 questions that are most frequently asked. I think I even have a list of 101 questions. So we can give you a chance to look at those and see what's the best possible answer to give to this kind of question. Their favorite first question is always, so tell me about yourself. And what they want to know is, what kind of an employee am I going to get? But people sit there and they start rattling off about their ballroom dance class and their raising potted plants, and that they found a special variety of roses, and they're looking at them going, "What the heck are you talking about? We don't care." So be careful that you're not answering a different question than what they're asking. They may also throw something really wacky at you, like how many golf balls will fit in a 747. That could drive you crazy. Looks like somebody else is joining.
Yeah, it looks like we have Tony trying to log in from MV Transportation.
I'll just talk for just a couple.
We'll see if she gets logged on. But Scott, let me ask you quickly. So you talked about the importance of your grooming and your background and all of those things when it comes to having a group interview or a virtual interview or a phone interview even. What if someone, because we know that we are all in different areas in our lives right now, what if someone is not able to really control their background? So what are some of the options? Can you put up a sheet or a green background or a green screen? So what are some of your other options if you have to take a phone interview or a virtual interview and your background is not sufficient?
One of the things that I found that worked best for me was try to get it as close to you as possible, and like if it has to be on the phone, and so that there's room for less stuff behind you, and then put something behind you that would cover it, like a sheet or a blanket or something, anything that would just, or try to back out up against the wall so that you have, people can't come behind you and be a part of that.
Okay, so thank you so much, Scott, for those tips and for that information. It looks like we have Ms. Tony Breedlove here with us from MV Transportation. Tony, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I hope I'm not coming across echoey. How are
No,
you?
we can hear you fine. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Unfortunately, I was busy with all kinds of different things, and I just saw the email, so I do apologize for being
Oh,
late.
it's okay. We understand that life happens, but we're glad that you're here with us now.
Thank you.
So once again, for our live viewers, my name is Sana Harris. I'm the employment specialist here at the Economic Opportunity Board of Clark County. We have Mr. Scott Bushman here with us as well from the Economic Opportunity Board. He is our resume specialist, and we are going to be chatting with you live on this webinar with Ms. Tony Breedlove, who is from MV Transportation. So she is here to let us know who MV Transportation is and what they have to offer to the community.
Well, thank you, Ms. Sona. MV Transportation is a nationwide organization. We're in 48 states. We provide contracted transportation services throughout the transportation industry. Specifically, when we talk about transit, and that is moving people within the cities. So those city buses that you see are what we handle. And here in Las Vegas, we're under the contract of the RTC, which is the Regional Transportation Commission here.
Right.
And what we do is, my job, I should say, my job is to secure drivers. And these are drivers who are basically just everyday, ordinary people. They can come to us with a current CDL, or they can come to us with just a regular driver's license like mine and yours, right? And what we do is we make sure that we provide them with the most comprehensive training for them to obtain a CDL. So it's a lot of processes that go along with that to make sure that everybody is in accordance to the laws that are, basically followed for us to put these drivers on the road.
Absolutely. So when we talk about regional transportation, I know we have the big buses, that we see all over town. And then we also have the shorter buses. So are we talking about both of those?
Well, actually, MV Transportation does have the contract, and they run the contract for RTC for both divisions. I particularly work in the fixed route services, and that's the city bus. Just across the parking lot is the paratransit services.
Okay.
And like I said, I only work fixed route. For the fixed route, again, they would need a CDL. However, for the paratransit services, because it's a smaller vehicle, that does not require a full CDL, a Class B. You can have a C license with a passenger endorsement.
Oh, okay, great. So you have options.
Yes.
Those job applicants have options if they're not quite ready to obtain a CDL or even handle a city bus of that magnitude, then they can go for the smaller
Correct. Uh-oh, you froze up on me.
Okay, it looks like we're unfroze now. Can you hear us?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay, great.
You're back.
Okay, I keep losing you, Ms. Harris. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. We might be having some difficulties with our internet in this building. But the question that I was asking is, what is the process? How does someone apply for the fixed route?
Very simply, they can go to our website at www.mvtransportation.com. They want to click the button that does say join our team, and it will then direct them to the areas of which, these stages of the application processes are. But simply by applying online, we immediately see it here in our offices, and then we will get someone to give them a call so that we can immediately move on getting them interviewed and getting all of the paperwork together to start this process. So it's not an immediate process. It's not like you can come in, do the application, interview, and you're starting work the next day.
Right.
Because so many credentials are needed, there is a process.
Okay. And let's say someone is coming in and they don't have a CDL license, they just have a driver's license, and they're interested in your training, which is OJT, right, on the job training. How long is that process?
I love this question. And the reason why is because it's not always on us as an employer, because
Right.
the applicant, the candidate, they have a responsibility as well to do their end. So normally what happens in this process, once the application is submitted and we schedule them for an interview, that can happen anywhere between 2 to 7 days. So
Okay.
we're looking at a week period. Once they get that interview, then there's the process of making sure that we get the background paperwork done and submitted. There's the process of making sure that the driving record is pulled so that we can make sure that they're not out there running people over. Then we have to, then we have to make sure that we send them out for a drug test and physical, because we have to work under the guidelines of the Department of Transportation, which
Right.
means that their physical has to be up to par, saying that, yes, they are eligible to work, they can work. So that particular process could be maybe 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the applicant. The other portion of that process would be, now we've got to put you in a permit class. And we offer permit classes to help people who are in that specific situation. They don't have a CDL. That permit class is designed to have the students sit with the trainer so that they can prepare them to take the test to get that CDL. So they're preparing to get a permit, and that's how we start the training. Once they are in that class, which is a 3-day training session, which they are paid at the rate that we pay our drivers. They are paid for those 3 days. We take them down to the DMV, check them in, they take their test, get their permit. We can start them to work that following week. So when we look at it all in a whole, we're looking at a period of from 1 week to 4 weeks, probably.
Okay.
But
Okay.
a lot of that is on the candidate, because the candidate has to be able to move as quickly as we want,
Right.
because that's what we want. We want to make sure that we can put them to work and have a sound career. So the candidate also has a lot of responsibility on getting this work done as well.
Absolutely. And so what are your, once they've completed all of that and they go out, are they just on their own? Do they have someone that they're shadowing, or is someone shadowing them? Just to kind of, until they get some comfortability.
That's the question I get from a lot of candidates, because you're talking about driving a 40-foot or a 60-foot monster.
With
And a
lines
lot of
on
people
board.
who have never driven, right, they've never driven it, and that's the, you get the nail biting
Absolutely.
scenario.
Absolutely.
But no, we don't cut them loose that quickly. What happens is that when they enter, or let me go back. So when they get their permit and we put them in a class that is now going to move forward to earn that CDL, that class or that training period is going to be for 6 weeks.
Okay.
Normally with someone that already has a CDL, they're fast tracked to a 4-week period. But it is normal through any standard of this industry that the student would go through a 6-week training period, which is
Right.
also paid, because they are hired at that point to
Okay.
get through this process. But once they get out of classroom training, they have learned how to pre-trip a bus, check the things that are most important for safety. Then they get on the road with one of the behind the wheel instructors. And at this point, they are now interacting with the public. They
Okay.
are, not only driving the bus, they're exhibiting their excellent customer service. They are collecting fare. They're answering questions to those riders, how to get from point A to point B. So a lot goes into that training, but no, we can't cut them loose on that 60-footer. That's the articulate.
Right. So thank you so much, Tony, for that. Let me also ask you, what does the ideal candidate look like? I hear you talk about customer service and safety, and so we know that customer service is a very important skill to have. It's a very critical skill to have when you're dealing with the lives of others, when you have a melting pot of people that are getting on and off of that vehicle daily, and you have to be able to know how to communicate and how to handle people with care, and also keeping safety in mind. So what does that ideal candidate look like?
The ideal candidate, as I've always, told a lot of people that I've sat with over the years, is that we can teach anybody to drive a bus. We
Right,
can't teach you to be a human being. We can't teach you empathy, you know, and you
right,
have to have, there has to be an innate need to be able to service your community. A lot of people say, "Oh, I want to do community work." Well, this is part of that process.
right, absolutely.
So yeah, the ideal candidate for me, what they look like is someone who enjoys coming to work, someone who loves to serve another person, the general
Right,
public, someone who, you know, just to know that you are alive, you're servicing your community, that you can offer a smile, that
right,
you're not bothered by providing information, you know, or if, you know, we have to face it, you know, we have a homeless community, you know, and
right,
they're not, you know, the hygiene is now not always up to what we would want it to be, but you have to have an innate ability and an innate yearning to be able to service anyone. Doesn't
right.
matter who you are, who they are, what they look like. You have to be able to be of service. And that's what this job is all about.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me just say that for many years, well, not many years ago, you know, I use the public transportation, and so things can escalate. You know, we see it in the
Oh,
news, we
absolutely.
see it, you know, in person, firsthand, and so it's not necessarily that you have to be well versed with conflict resolution, but you do have to have the ability to be, as you said, understanding, to be empathetic. And sometimes you may have to be, you know, make a judgment call because we all have protocols and we have rules and we have processes in place. But when you're dealing with the community and, you know, everyone has different needs, you have to be able to make a judgment call sometimes. Can we talk a little bit about what are some of the safety protocols that you have in place?
I'm so glad you asked that question because we do live in a time where things are always uncertain. We're uncertain about, you know, the places we visit. We're uncertain about the people that we come in contact with. When you do this kind of job, you are coming in contact with a lot of different people, and you
Right,
can't always have your eyes in the back of your head,
right,
you know. So some things may come as a surprise. I've been around long enough, and I won't tell you how long, but it's in the 20 somethings. Uh, but the safety protocol that has always been in place for this industry, even though, you know, time has gone on, they have not stayed the same because we've had to adjust with the
right,
times.
right.
Now we're living in a you know, post 911 world. We're living in a current pandemic world. So tensions are heightened.
Right,
So that means we have to adjust with those tensions. Right now, what we do have in place are several different things that the drivers are trained on. And one of those things are conflict resolution. It
right,
used to be where the conflict could be taken, you know, further and further out, right? Well, now because we've got a post 9/11 world, now that we've got this current pandemic situation and everything is heightened, now we're lessening how long that resolution should be.
good,
Okay.
good.
So that means that if say it for instance, I've seen it for years where a bus driver is in the seat, a passenger gets on, they're unhappy about God knows what, and they're disruptive and they're causing all of these issues. The driver has always been trained to not get out of the seat.
Right,
And as bad as we want to be able to go to someone and say, look, you know, can you calm it down a little bit?
right,
The driver is told to stay in the seat. And the reason why is because we don't want to put the driver's life or health in danger. But two, we definitely don't want to put the health and safety of our passengers in danger.
right,
So by staying in the seat, he is equipped with everything that he needs to be able to call for help.
Right.
He has a radio where he is in constant contact with our radio dispatch center. He has a camera that is always rolling. And
Right.
now they are not just cameras that record. These are live cameras where we can go in and see what's going on. So that not only is that a second defense for us to contact emergency personnel, such as the police or ambulance services or fire department. We've got live camera on these drivers all the time. But additionally, there is a panic button on all of the buses for that very reason, because if there is not enough time for us to kind of figure out what this situation is and then call law enforcement, he can always, or she can always press a panic button, which then is directly linked to law enforcement. And then
Right.
law enforcement, they can look at our GPS, because everything is equipped with GPS. So they look at the GPS, and if you've ever noticed all of the buses on the top of them, they have those big letters and numbers on them. That's for identification purposes in case law enforcement's put a helicopter in the air. So now we can identify the bus. So all kind of different safety protocols have been set up, not just for the outside sourcing of rescue, but also for the inside. Like I said before, the driver is to stay in the seat. The best place for him is in the seat, because now you will find all of our buses have been retrofitted with a shield guard, a plexiglass. It locks from the driver's side, right. It locks from the driver's side in, so that a passenger can't get at him. He is always to remain with his seatbelt on, because if someone does reach in there, and if they're, the Incredible Hulk, if he doesn't have a seatbelt on, he can be pulled out of the seat.
Right.
So there's all kind of different protocol that is put in place, and it's all standard by the Department of Transportation and the Federal Transportation Administration, so that we can be a best protection, not only for the driver, but for the passenger.
Absolutely. That is great. That's very critical that you all have that live camera, in real time, because especially for new drivers, they may hesitate on making that judgment call, but it's great to know that you have a backup. Someone is watching and they can make that call where you may freeze up or where you may not be sure. They can go ahead and get that request out saying, hey, this person is struggling, they need help. Another reason that while you were speaking, I was just thinking, it's great that the driver stays in the seat, because if he's handling something a few rows back, someone can hop into that seat and now they have control of that bus. And so we definitely
I've
don't
seen
want
it.
that. Yes.
Right, and I've seen it. I've seen it twice in my career.
Wow.
That a driver has gotten out of the seat and the bus was commandeered by a passenger, and the other time was just someone on the street who popped in the seat and commandeered that bus.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So for all of our viewing listeners, we are speaking with MV Transportation. We're speaking with Tony Breedlove. And what I would say to you is do not be intimidated. There are tons of safety protocols in place. There are tons of training. There's certifications that you can get. If you do not have a CDL, you still can receive on-the-job training, and this can be an opportunity for you. If you are intimidated by that big bus, there is still another opportunity for you. You can opt to drive the paratransit, which is a much smaller vehicle and does not require the CDL license. So MV Transportation has tons of opportunities. Please do not be intimidated. We know that there's been an uptake, an uprise in drivers, not just commercial, but for passenger drivers and all sorts of drivers. So this could be a great employment or career opportunity for you. Can you let our viewers know how to contact you once again?
Absolutely. My direct number, and I'm not afraid to give you my direct number because I want you to call. My direct number is area code 702-647-5085. You can also send me an email, which I constantly get on this phone. Now you can send me an email at Tony, that's Toni, .breedlove, spelled BREEDLOVE at MV Transportation, or I'm sorry, MVTransit.com. So that's Tony.breedlove at MVTransit.com.
Thank you so much for that. Tony, can we talk a little bit about benefits? What type of employee benefits do applicants have to look forward to?
Great benefits here, and the drivers not only have a decent pay, but the benefits are fantastic here. It's medical, dental, and vision. All three of those entities of your medical is then available to the applicant, the candidate and the employee, but all of our employees are under the same thing. They actually get their benefits in 60 days. Instead of having to wait past that probation period, so they get it in 60 days. Just want to make sure that everybody is covered because we want you to be healthy. Also is the 401k plan. So that helps you to put some money away for your 401k retirement benefits.
Okay. And so we're looking at medical, dental, and vision?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's about
Really
the
good.
401k. And so for someone who is there a wage variance in someone who is starting out without the CDL and someone that's coming in with the CDL?
No, everybody will start at the $15.77 an hour because we have an annual increase on their anniversary date. And all of these things are under contract with the RTC and under our union. So, without fail, they get their increases, but everybody does start at the same rate.
Okay. Okay, great.
Tony, could you put your contact information in the chat for those of us that are not fast?
I'm not fast.
Whoops, I'm sorry.
I'm not fast at all. Of course, I'm doing it now.
I appreciate it.
And so Tony, while you are typing that into the chat, let me ask you, what things have changed with COVID? So what are some differences that you've noticed or that drivers are having to make some adjustments?
That's one of the questions I don't think I've ever really answered. I think because it's been an ongoing conversation for the past year. But as I'm brought to answer this question, the changes that have been made and then how the COVID pandemic has affected us, this industry and this element of the industry for transit, we have not really seen where we were off work. I'll start there.
Okay.
Because we have been considered an essential service.
Right.
So if during the pandemic, if you ever paid attention, when we were at the height of the pandemic, the buses were still running.
Right.
However, they weren't running as often as we're used to them running because we had to now scale back with the number of people that we had not only in the building, but the number of people that come in contact with each other and also the general public. So we had to follow CDC guidelines just like everyone else. Although some of the buses were already retrofitted, I think our 60-foot buses were already retrofitted with a plexiglass. We had to then retrofit the 40-footers as well. We had to make changes on how we actually loaded people on the bus.
Right.
Normally, people will load from the front, they pay their fare. Well, CDC guidelines said now we could not put our drivers at risk or put the passengers at risk with contact.
Wow.
So
okay.
we had to load people from the back.
Okay.
So all kind of different things changed. It went as far as how the buses come in for cleaning.
Right,
instead of a regular cleaning, and we run them through the bus wash, and we have the cleaners out there. Now they had to use different solutions.
right,
Uh, how they actually cleaned the bus, where it was they would wipe them down and they would wipe them dry, right? Now it was different. Everything became different. Now we in science had learned that now you got to keep it wet so it absorbs, so we had to go through all of these changes, and it affected us because we had to take some of the buses off the road.
right,
They weren't running as often. There were uh, electronic temperature readers that had to be installed here on site, that every driver had to go through. So we were sending people home as soon as they saw a temp, things of that nature.
right.
So we were not faulty in making sure that we were not only following CDC guidelines, but we were following our common sense as we saw the pandemic become more and more outscale.
Right.
So it affected us tremendously. But here in the office, we alternated weeks so that we didn't come in contact with each other and drivers, but we were working from home. Then when we had full CDC guidelines put in place, the absolute, this is what we have to do, we started bringing people back. But our business never stopped. It just never stopped. We found new ways to service the community.
Right. And one thing that I heard you say that really stood out to me and was really impressive is that you not only took those steps to protect the drivers, but to protect the public as well. Drivers are getting their temperatures taken. They're wearing masks and gloves and different things like that. So the PPE gear. And it's important because just as well as those drivers need to be protected, so does the community, because as you mentioned, that's an essential service. People have to be able to get not just back and forth to work, but to the doctors, to the grocery store,
Exactly.
For a lot of our community, this is their only means of transportation. And so although we're experiencing a pandemic, the world can just not shut down. Some things are going to still have to go on. And so we have to be flexible and be able to make those accommodations. And it sounds like you all are doing a good job at keeping up with those accommodations, taking the necessary safety protocols for both your employees and for the community as well. So thank you. Thank you for all that you all are doing.
Yeah, well, that's what we have to do. I mean, that goes along with service. You can't service a community and not have a forethought of how you're servicing them and what does that service look like and what does it mean. I'm sorry, my light goes off when I'm not moving. But we take great care in how we service our community, and we take great care in understanding what that means. A lot of people will say it, but we know what it means, and that's what we do. We perform that.
Absolutely. Tony, it has been a pleasure. It has definitely been a pleasure speaking with you today, and I'm glad that we can get your services out to the community and let the community know that you are here and you are hiring. You all have safety protocols. You have excellent benefits. You have options on the type of employment that the community can apply for. Once again, this is Sana Harris, the employment specialist at the Economic Opportunity Board. We're talking with MV Transportation or MV Transit. And we're talking with Ms. Tony Breedlove, and they are hiring. They are actively hiring. They have positions. They have careers open and available to you. Do not be intimidated. There are a lot of options. So give them a call, shoot them an email, look them up online. They're also union. So there are a lot of opportunities and benefits that you have with this opportunity. You can contact EOB at eobcapsnb.org. You can also give us a call at 702-445-7105. And if you did not catch that information for MV Transportation, it is typed in our chat. This is a live webinar, but if you miss it, you can go back on our website. You can go on Facebook and you can go on YouTube and you can hit the replay button. Tony, is there anything that you want to leave our viewers with today?
I'm so glad you asked that. So just an added great thing that's going on here at MV Transportation is that we are offering a bonus. So for those who, yes, and who doesn't like a bonus, right?
We get a sign-up bonus, yay!
We all love a bonus.
I know. So we are offering bonuses. If you have a CDL, we are offering you $1,800. That's $1,800. If you do not have a CDL, just a regular license, we are offering you $1,200. That's $1,200. So come on down. We have our doors open. You can come in. Just make sure you have a mask. If you don't, then we provide a mask for you. Plenty of sanitizer. Come on down. You can do the online application right here. And hopefully, if my schedule's not too busy and if Peggy's schedule's not too busy, then we can do your interview on the spot. But you got to get that application in. So come on in. We're located at 3210 Citizen Avenue, right here in North Las Vegas, 89032. I left you my number, 702-647-5085, and my email, tony.breedlove@mvtransit.com. No excuse for them to get in touch with me. None.
Listen, I might have to do a little bit of moonlighting for those bonuses.
Because you always joke with the drivers here. I always tell them, I say, you guys drive nice cars. I mean, you're making all this money. You know, I said, I should be a driver. And they go, no, Miss Breedlove, no. But yeah, we look forward to having people come on over. The doors are open and we welcome you. We welcome you to start a great career.
Thank you so much. Listen, it has been a pleasure. I enjoyed talking with you and I will reach out to you soon. Anyone that I feel is interested, we're constantly putting people through training for CDLs, so I can definitely refer them over. It was a pleasure and thank you so much for your time today.
Pleasure has been mine. You guys take care.
Thank you. You as
Bye,
well.
Tony.
Have a
Thanks,
great
everybody.
day.
Bye-bye.